You're listening to Your Rivers Are Wrong, the podcast.
Good morning, everyone. Or afternoon, or evening, or night, all the time zones again. Welcome back to the Your Rivers Are Wrong podcast. It's me. My name is Merle. I'm one of your co-hosts.
It's me. My name is Dante. I'm the other co-host.
Yeah. We always say it like this, right? Yeah, it's great. And just to be sure, you're not listening to the wrong podcast. It's Your Rivers Are Wrong, the place where we talk about the wonderful whimsies of world building, the arts and aesthetics of setting up a setting and telling stories born from it. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Dante, it's the finale. It's episode 60. 60.
It is.
Did you realize? Well, actually, in fact, you did realize because as you, the audience, cannot see, Dante is in a very amazing looking suit in celebration of this beautiful finale episode. I'm very excited.
You know, I figured that our purely audio podcast needed just a little bit of flair and decor to celebrate, you know?
I love it. Maybe it also like changes the way you talk now. Maybe you become more businessy, like just by wearing a suit. I think that's pretty true, actually.
With this suit and this headset and this mic, I feel like a sports announcer. You know, the people who sit side of the court on the NBA games, and they're just really nicely put together for no reason except to talk.
We should have saved the sports episode for this one. Oh, missed opportunities, dude.
I'm not gonna wear a suit for a sports episode. I feel
what
like
do you mean? You're so much like a sports announcer now. I hate that you said it because now I can't unsee it.
Okay, well, the vibe wasn't sports announcer, but I guess it is now.
Yep, you made it happen. It's real.
I feel like throughout this season in particular, we have every now and then just stressed really nicely for this purely audio podcast.
Yeah.
So I felt like this would be a nice feather in the cap for a really successful, professional-looking season. At least from the webcam.
Professional-looking season. Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe that can be our tagline from now on.
By the way, just for the record, when we dress nice for this podcast, Merla actually goes somewhere and like it looks nice outside of her room for like the things she has to do for the day. Me,
this is the difference between you and me. Yeah.
I head straight to work after this, where I wear like working scrubs. This suit is coming right off.
Yeah.
Either at the end of this podcast or somewhere in the middle of it. We'll find out when we get there.
Do you still like take the effort of going there and then changing into your work outfit? Like, is it still a commuting thing, or is it just you're not even leaving the house?
I'm not gonna wear this on the train. No, I'm not gonna wear this on the train.
Fair enough, honestly.
It's gonna get dirty. No. I'm just gonna change into some nice shorts and shirt because it's getting real hot. Welcome to June. Yes. Welcome to summer. Our birthday month.
Yeah.
We're gonna celebrate.
That's right.
Over the break, somehow, some way. It's gonna be fun.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it will be so fun. But before all of that, Dante, we still need to do like one final episode. Like that's why we're here, honestly.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
And in fact, because it's a final episode, since I think last season, I'm not sure, but ever since sometime, we've been doing 2 prompt episodes per season.
We literally did it 5 episodes again. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. When we started. Yes.
Yeah, but I feel like before that we didn't do like full episodes of prompts, right? Was that a season 4 thing? Season 5 thing? I'm not sure.
Okay, here's a little callback. The first prompts episode we did for fun was episode 36 for no reason at all. And then we did 45 and 50 as prompts episodes. So this is the 5th prompts episode.
Hey.
Because people really like it and we really like it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a great finale, I think, because it's just chaos. The prompt episodes are always chaos. In case you didn't listen to them before, well, you're in for a ride. I think it's going to be very fun. And just like before, we asked you guys online via Dante's YouTube account, all the places to send in 1-sentence prompts to us that we can pick and choose from and basically shoot at each other. We've both seen the lists, but we don't know what we each picked. So that's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
But before that, maybe like any other updates? Is there anything crazy happening that we definitely need to talk about before we dive in here?
Oh, yeah. Just as an undercurrent of this episode, I will be attempting to sound design whatever prompts we choose, which is music, which is sound effects. Right. It's going to be really fun. Don't expect anything too much because I'm amateur, but that's something I'm going to try just for this one in particular.
So great.
And how about you?
I had a pretty relaxing weekend, I think. I'm thinking so hard on what I did. This is actually pretty exciting. Me and my niece and my brother are gonna perform around like I think 2nd of July on a sort of amateur music / performance festival in my hometown, which is super fun.
Awesome.
And last Sunday, I went to my brother's new house. By the way, he bought a house, and I can't believe that is a reality.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. Yep, it's true.
Must be nice.
The pain is real. But that was really nice because then we had a place to rehearse, and it was really fun. So we picked out songs, and we sort of try stuff out, and he's playing the guitar, and then my niece and me are singing, and it's going to be very cute. I think it's really nice and
That's
great
so
for
awesome.
summer. Yeah. So that was pretty nice. And I think I'm going to do that for a few more weekends. And then hopefully we'll know a bunch of songs at the end of this. Pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is your niece?
Good question.
Uh-oh, putting
like
on the spot.
3
Uh-oh.
years younger than me.
Don't let your...
She's studying. So she's definitely like 19 or older. Like 20 maybe.
That's definitely not 3 years younger than you. You know what? Let's not guess in case your your niece ever watches this episode.
I think she will forgive me, but yes, I'm not great with birthdays or age in general. I'm bad at numbers. That's the end of it.
Cool.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yep. Anyway, I feel like at some point we got to jump in. It's real. It's happening. It's got to be now. Dante, why don't you start us off? Kick us off with a prompt.
Sure.
I'm very curious what you picked for this one.
All right. Let me pull up my list because I have my main two and then my backups just in case you picked those. This prompt is for you to improvise. Oh, ooh. This was, I think, my favorite. And regardless of whether you chose it or not, I want one of us to try it.
The answer must be out there.
Here we go.
Interesting.
Either you give it to me or I give it to you. And since I'm going first, it's yours. All right, here's your prompt. This prompt. Oh, I also chose this prompt because I wanted to show off that I can read the Cyrillic alphabet. This one is by...
I think I know which one you picked up.
This one is by Yaroslav Shirinsky. Ooh,
that sounded very good. Look, to my untrained ears, that sounded beautiful.
I still got it. Yeah, the school I went to only offered Russian as a secondary language and nothing else. So the only thing I've carried into my adulthood is the ability to read the alphabet.
That's pretty cool, though, honestly. That's great.
Here's the prompt. The world where the ocean is dead, and you should resurrect it each time you want to sail it.
Yes. Oh my God. I know this one. I saw it. I saved it. It was great. I love the ocean. This is great. Very confusing to my brain.
It's all you?
Oof. Can you read it to me one more time?
You got it. The world where the ocean is dead, and you should resurrect it each time you want to sail it.
Yeah. So immediately in my brain, the question arises, if it's not there anymore, why would we need sailing? Like, why don't we just walk across the bottom of the ocean to wherever we want to go? Is this like a recreational sailing? Is this a sort of hunting, like hunting for the rich people? Like it's completely unnecessary, but because it's so rare, it becomes a thing. That's kind of cool. Suddenly, like sailing is very, very elite or something.
What does it mean that the ocean is dead? Is it still there, but still, or is it gone? That's
a good question.
Decide on.
Yeah. Also, like, if it's still there, can't you, like, sail it anyway? Like, is water alive at all? Is the ocean alive? I mean, people would argue yes, because there's a lot of life in it, right? But, like, how does this work? It's pretty interesting. Yeah, so if the ocean is dead, if the water is still there, is it just non-sailable? Does that mean the wind is dead, too? Where does the limit of this prompt begin?
Yeah, I saw it kind of abstractly where if like the ocean is dead, then there are like no waves. Like it's entirely like still.
It's like a glass mirror.
Yeah, so maybe that would imply that the wind also is not pushing a ship forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To me, because I just love giant friendly monsters, to me this also sounds like just like a really large living creature, which is, by the way, the ocean, that you need to be friends with in order to pass. Something like that. So if it's not alive, it won't sort of work with you to get you to where you're going. It's almost like, like you're worshiping the wind god for like safe travels when you're traveling with an airship or something like that. Or it is, which I think is more fascinating because it's material maybe, what it means when the ocean is dead is that it's literally not there. Like it evaporates or something, or you need to do like the magic resurrection water dance to make it reappear again, you know?
Yeah, that's totally an idea. What do you want to cling to here?
Yeah, okay.
What's your favorite?
I would say I like the idea of sort of no bodies of water at all, except for like lakes or puddles.
Sure.
So I would say this is a sort of the water rising back from like dry desert sands as soon as you're able to resurrect it, bringing you a faster way of travel than just walking, or a way of travel that won't like completely tire you out because it's so like deserty and impossible. I think probably like the whole idea of like bringing a boat to a dry place is a feat in itself, right? And then as soon as the ocean rises from under you, I think it's really like 80% prep and then hoping and praying to all the gods that you know of that the ocean will resurrect, that your ritual will work in a way, and then being able to complete your travels. So I think the sort of build up to this moment, I really want this to be like very nearly impossible. And it's almost a sort of sacred thing if you finally are able to sort of summon the ocean under your ships, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's also a very rare thing. Like resurrection is famously pretty hard in D&D, but also in life. Not a lot of people can do it. Maybe no one. Maybe Jesus. I'm not sure. Maybe. So if you're able to resurrect the ocean, because I also like this term, right? Resurrect. It's like a living thing now. If you're able to resurrect the ocean, you instantly get like a sort of saint-like quality to you, right? Like, what does that mean when you're as a person able to resurrect the entirety of the ocean under your ships?
Right.
So I think this whole world that this is based in should be super... I think travel is the most holy thing. And travel on water or on oceans is sort of the impossible saint-like pilgrims, you know, thing that people
I love that.
do, or perhaps that people strive for being able to do, right? Because I think it's not just like a one-person thing. It's not like, oh, there's one holy guy that can do this. Though that would be interesting as well. Like, think of the power that you would have, or the sort of things that people would offer you to be able to do this once in their life or something. But I think it's more interesting if it's a skill that you can learn, which is just super hard to do, or something.
I'm getting the strong visual of like a desert-ish land, and you have these holy people, so to speak, who bring around like very condensed small boats. And whenever they want to go somewhere, they put the boat onto the ground, they like chant or whisper a prayer, and then water rises from the sands to move the boat. And it's like this personal wave that carries you.
Like small scale.
And like that's how you know.
That's really cool, actually. Yeah.
Like, that's how you know somebody's like super attuned and stuff like that.
So is it harder or is it easier to summon a tiny ocean? Tiny version.
I would imagine the bigger the wave, the higher the connection to whatever God is connected to this ocean.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Like if you're a prophet of the dead ocean god, right?
That's the coolest sentence, by the way.
And you can summon these waves like, oh, this guy is serious business, you know?
Yeah.
Like just the concept of like water being sacred in this very dry place and summoning it to go places. Oh my gosh, like what a privilege.
That's cool in general already. Yeah. And also I wonder if it's like morally ambiguous to do. Like, should the ocean be resurrected? Because, you know, there's also a thing in, you know, famous other media, when you resurrect something, it becomes like zombified or undead or something, right? It's not like you rewind time. It's like a sort of a shell of what it used to be with a weird sort of different, quote unquote, living energy to it. Like, what if dead ocean is something very different from like regular ocean?
Yeah, I could see that. Like something along the lines
That's kind of edgy, right? Yeah, I kind of like that.
Like a dichotomy sort of, like I'm thinking like Kyogre and Groudon Pokemon. Like there's a god of the ocean and a god of the land, or a god of the sun, right? And one clearly won over the other. Like the sun god is, you know, ruler of the land, and to summon water in this plane when the sun is all you need in this world, in this setting.
Sure.
Would be some sort of sacrilegious, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because then it's powerful, but also not really, right? So maybe people kind of like envy you and also don't want other people to know that they think it's cool. And also if it's very hard, like you're gonna have to go some dark places and really like be confident enough to like dabble in the dark arts, I guess, of like dead ocean summoning.
Summoning, exactly, right. And I think because these waves are so small and personal, it's a symbol of how much the god has been diminished. You know, a once great and powerful ocean is now just a small wave every now and then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good. I think we could keep going forever, honestly. But yeah, I love this. This is great. Also, what does that even... The whole phrasing of this prompt is just so great. I can't pronounce that name for the life of me, but you know who you are. This is great. You did a great job. This one's great.
I love prompts that imply facts that are like, you should resurrect the ocean. As in, that is something
like that's
already
a thing
established.
People do, apparently. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you, Yaroslav, for sending this in.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Amazing. Okay. Are you ready for another one?
I sure am.
Okay. Since we already did the wonderful ocean prompt, let me see what else I got in my saved ones. This one is from GEWB2105, and I feel like we know that username. Didn't we do a prompt before? Oh, I love that.
Yes, we sure did.
Love that.
I think this person in particular has commented on at least 3 or 4 of these. Of these call outs.
That's so great.
I appreciate people who come back and are like, hey, we have more ideas.
I'm not done here. Great.
So thank you for sending that in.
Yeah. And the prompt goes as follows. Nothing will ever die in the ever-living woods because it makes sure of that.
I like this one. I do like this one.
It's pretty good.
Nothing will ever die in the ever-living woods because it makes sure of that. All right. Well, let's establish a couple things first and foremost.
Set some ground rules for this one.
Okay. First of all, obvious thing, which again implied fact, the ever-living woods is a sentient being. It has a hold on its denizens, and I love the energy that nothing will ever die because it makes sure of that. So this isn't necessarily a consensual everlasting life, you know.
That's interesting.
It doesn't matter if you want to die, the woods will not let you, right? So
yeah. Oh, that's like instantly turns it into like horror shit, which I love.
Yeah. So it gives me strong like eldritch patron energy for better or worse. There's an energy of undeath here. Something unnatural.
Quite literally, yes.
That I'd love to tap into.
No one shall ever die. Yes.
And immediately when I read this prompt, I hear like the mischievous twinkling music. You know, like the violin strums of somebody who's not quite sure what's going on here.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Let's jump into this. Trying to see how meta I want to go with this. How many layers I want to cook into this onion, you know?
I vote for all the layers.
It's close to evening time. There's a soft pattering of footsteps running frantically through the woods. Very light, very small. Very few of the bushes, let alone branches of trees, are disturbed by this small person making their way through the woodwork. You can hear the call of an owl in the distance, signaling that dusk is to fall and the creatures of the nocturnal sort are ready to prowl. But this person presses onward, and as they dash through the faintest of roads that only the keenest of eyes can see, a young child, barely 9 or 10 years old, bursts out of the woodwork into a clearing, of which they've been to before. And in this clearing, they see a house covered in vines. Out of breath, they make their way to the door and knock on it 3 times. I'll put a sound effect there in the future.
Oh, yeah.
This is me planning for my future self. So, future self, you're welcome.
We can edit the knocks out now.
Oh, yeah. And I'll just find those sound effects.
Yes. Love it.
And the door creaks open, and a woman reveals herself covered in this patchy, mossy brown and green cloak that she wears over herself. She stands at a tall 7-foot something. Hard to tell because she leans over, just barely fitting through the doorframe, looking at this small child who, in their hands, carries an animal. Gray fur, 4 paws, limp. The young child cries, "Please, I know you have magic. I know you can fix her. I already miss her so much. Please do something. And the little child holds out what looks to be a young tabby cat, barely a few years old. And from within the folds of this mossy cloak, you can see long fingernailed hands pick up the body, holding it like a crane with 3 fingers.
Ugh.
And the witch of the forest tells the young child, if you give this cat to me, they will no longer be with you. And the child looks confused and says, why? I want the cat to come home with me. I want to be with them forever. And the witch tisks and says, no, you don't want forever. What you gift to me is a gift to this forest. And the forest never returns gifts to those who send them. I would know. So please, if you leave your pet here, they will no longer belong to you. Is that what you want? The child wipes away the snot from their nose and clears their eyes with the tears and says, if Tabby is alive again, then yeah, I want that. And the witch frowns and debates how they should wield the power that they have come to have. And for better or worse, dooms another soul to infinity. An emerald glow of their palms seeps from their fingertips like ooze into the body of this cat. It twitches and wakes to life, startled but breathing. The witch looks to the child and says, it was wrong for you to come here, and it is wrong for you to stay. And the witch takes her 2 fingertips, swings them downwards, and the child's eyes close. And with a wave of her hand, vines grasp the child's body and carry it back out of the woods to a bed where they'll sleep quietly and comfortably and not remember this time and space. The witch, watching the body leave the forest, ponders on the life they once lived, of her husband who brought her here on the brink of death and offered her to the forest.
Oh, right. That's cool.
And she recalls the many years she spent ageless, watching him die. For the forest chooses who they favor, and the forest chooses who they let die. End scene.
Oh, dude. Okay, that was okay, that's rough. Damn. Man, imagine being cursed forever by just living. It's the most awful thing. Oh my god. Yeah, of course it's like this. Yeah, it's gotta be. I thought she was going to be the big bad, kind of. She was going to be the one that influences it, but it's definitely not.
No.
Rough.
So the idea was that her husband brought her there way back when, and the forest was like, all right, so I'll take her, but I'm not taking you. And then he passes away and she's doomed. And then when the child offers the cat, the witch is like, dang.
Yep. Oh, man.
So be it.
God. Also, I mean, can I just say, I love when things are so location specific, I love when people are when people come with territory. You know what I mean? If you go to the specific weird woods, you'll find the weird witch of the woods, and no one really knows why she's hanging out there. But it totally makes sense, right? Yeah, this is great. That was great. That was gorgeous. I can already feel the sound effects happening in my brain,
I was definitely doing it with sound effects in mind.
Yes, as you should have.
I was like, what would make a cool sound effect? Which line of these would make a cool sound effect? Ooh, something.
I mean,
about,
what's the sound effect of a cat resurrecting?
I can't wait to figure out what that is.
Love that.
Ooh,
I'm very excited.
I'll have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thank you, GEWB2105, for another fantastic prompt.
Knocking them out.
Now, this prompt I'm pulling from what YouTube tells me is 4 months ago. So we've been doing this fan prompts thing for almost half a year now, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's right. So you're pulling from the old ones, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, if you send in a prompt, it is with us forever. We choose which prompts die. It's up to us.
Also, we can only pick 4 per prompt episode. So,
yeah.
We
have a good amount for a while.
So many of them are coming in that I want to try out, but we can only do 4 an episode. So it's good to have a stash. Yeah.
Again, you could send it in through Gmail, through Twitter. Our Gmail is yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. Our Twitter is YRAW Podcast, you raw podcast, if you want to send it in there. And this is from our YouTube thread from 4 months ago. Are you ready, Marla?
So ready. Let's go.
Okay. This one was sent in by Josiah Klein. Thank you, Josiah Klein.
That's a cool name.
History is not written in stone, but clay. You just need to catch it before it dries.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wait, this is a complicated one. You just need to catch it before it dries. Because isn't clay sort of, once you re-moisturize it, you can sort of mold it again? Or is that not a thing?
It's up to you.
I know this from like my art classes. If you like cover it and make sure that like the moisture stays inside, you can kind of work on it for like, you know, you can sort of leave it for a week and then come back to it and it won't have dried out. But this one sounds a bit different.
It's entirely up to you.
So I'm thinking this is like a sort of, once it's baked, it's basically stone.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. This is interesting because now there's a timeline to this, right? I love the idea of sort of catching truth before it's locked in there forever, right?
Mm.
In stone, it's sort of simpler because once you carve it, you're done. There's no erasing in stone. That's just it. But in clay, once you start writing, I mean, I guess, what is that, like a few days or something if it's fully dried out, depending on where you are, but sure, let's say a few days. So within that few days, if this is the most important history in the world that needs to be written as exact as possible, there is days where you can edit out mistakes, where people can get to your clay slab and, you know, smudge things out and rewrite stuff. This feels to me like one of those like older school spy movies, which are great. By the way, like what's the one my brother loves? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I don't know if you know it. It's a great one. And the whole genre of this feels so tense and lovely because everything is sort of set in 19-something. 50 or something, or 1940. So a lot of things are physical still. There's no like digital file saving. Everything is like suitcases and vaults and, you know, physical money. Everything is physical. So physical things can break and can disappear and can, you know, set aflame. This feels like one of those problems. So I think in this society that's happening, there's a few people that scribe history. There's a very official feel to this. This is one of the, I think this is both a very knowledge-based society where knowledge is a very kind of similar to ours, right? Where literature feels very high art, feels very important, where writing is a sort of thing of the higher classes almost. So imagine if writing is so important, if history and tales and knowledge are very important to a society. If you are the scriber?
Scribe.
What's the word? Scribe? Yeah.
I think it's scribe, yeah.
Sure.
Then the noun is scribe, the verb is scribe.
Oh, yeah. This is so confusing. Sure. If you are the scribe of history, you got a very important role. You have literally the power in your hands to sort of save knowledge in your own personal handwriting, because it's also a physical thing. Like there's no way one slab will be similar to the slab of your colleague. Maybe that's even an entire art, right? Maybe you need a whole sort of education for writing as similarly as possible to previous scribes that have come before you, right? In order to have one sort of red thread, one standard for this historic information. So I think the idea of writing in a material that's not solid or that solidifies very slowly means that as soon as something is written down, you basically start a stopwatch, right?
Yeah.
And I think the history that's going to make it on the slab, because these are like, I would say there's not like endless slabs of everything, right? Perhaps this is a very specific clay or something that, you know, only certain information can become historic information to be preserved forever. Specifically because it is so physical and because it is so rare to be a scribe, etc., etc. So I think in this world, I would say it's almost a ritualistic thing to write down history in this way. There needs to be multiple eyes on this, you know, kings and queens. Anyone who is anyone needs to be aware of what's going on this slab, right? And specifically, if it's information that's very either biased or that's very important on one side of a conflict, for instance, if we're talking like kingdoms and battles, right? This is information that needs to be solidified in the way that it's written. So once a slab is finished, once the information is written down, once it's complete, basically, once the scribing is complete, I should say, no one should touch this, come even near this room.
Of course.
You know, every moisture needs to be out of the air. It needs to be in the hottest place possible. It needs to solidify as fast as possible. So I think there's a whole sort of security thing going on where there's multiple layers of either, you know, rooms that it's in, doors, people with certain ranks that can only go to specific, you know, levels of this chamber.
High security.
Yeah, for sure.
Building, so to speak.
Because imagine if you're the other side of the party and everyone looks to this historic document in years' time. And because this is like such a specific thing to do, I don't think there's a lot of scribes at all. So anything that gets written down needs to be very important, needs to be relevant. And if it's in favor of one or the other party, needs to be sure that every party either agrees or is not in the room when it happens. Because then it's going to get very muddy.
Right.
Second thought that I have here. Imagine finding, kind of building on this prompt a little bit, right? Imagine finding a clay tablet with like a fingerprint on it. Or imagine one where one word can either be read like this or it can be read like this. One scribe either did their job very poorly, which is impossible because these people get trained like hell, right? Takes years to become even a scribe, to have the rank to be able to touch a tablet, let alone write on it. So if there's a fingerprint on a slab that is already solidified, no one has seen it, or, you know, this has happened outside of the public eye, something has happened here that has gone through like serious layers of security, and the whole sort of truthfulness, the whole genuineness, I guess, of history is tainted, right? Because if there's a fingerprint on this one, perhaps there was another one that has succeeded in changing history. So where lies the boundary of, you know, trusting the slabs that went before you, that are solidified already? As soon as one slab is touched in this way, you can sort of throw away the whole thing, right? Yeah, like where does it end? And I think that's definitely gotta be like the main political undercurrent of this whole world, right?
Right.
The stakes of this are all in the physicality. And I think that's super great because I love it when stories do it.
I love the idea that like history is compromised because the ancient texts might have been changed, right?
Kind of, right? Yeah.
As if like history is not written by like the authors and the winners and by a specific perspective. Like who's to say that like we can trust who's writing the slabs? Who's to say that the people in charge of scribing them are going to document history truthfully, you know?
Good question. Yeah. And also, who is able to read them, right? If writing is a very like elite thing to do, then reading is probably also a very elite thing to do. Think about like what languages is in, right? Language favors certain parties. That's famously the case in the real world as well, right? Like certain languages have words for things that might not exist in other languages or other cultures.
Of course.
So what does it mean to write it in a specific language? Is there like a universal language now that everyone needs to agree on that history is written in? Like you could take this so far. I love that about this.
Like what's the gravity of the text being written? Because I feel like it's not just events or how things happened. It's like a peace treaty or the agreements made by two different groups of people. And it can absolutely not be tampered with because it dictates the entirety of the culture. So like if something was changed, who's to say it wasn't always like that, right? If someone says this was not part of the agreement between our two cities or between our two civilizations, and they could be like, well, look at the ancient slab.
Yeah.
Clearly nothing has changed since then, right? And it's just like, oh, what can you trust? You know, that kind of energy.
Yep. The whole thing falls apart once one element of this like goes awry, and I love it because then everyone is suspicious about everything. It's great.
I dig that. I like that.
Yeah.
Good prompt. Good answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good. Handshake, professional handshake.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the prompt.
Okay. Last but not least. Oh my God.
Okay.
Last prompt of the season. Are you ready for it?
I won't know if I'm ready for it until I hear it.
That is correct. Here we go. This one is sent by the most wholesome username I've seen in the world. A person called Magintons. Thank you, Magintons, for sending this one in. And it goes as follows. The more magic you cast, the more scared you are.
Oh no, what does that mean?
That's for you to figure out.
The more magic you cast, the more scared you are. I'm trying to figure out now.
Yeah.
Is this fear voluntary or involuntary? is it like a consequence of magic implicitly? Or is it simply you are being surprised by the gravitas of your magic and it scares you?
Oh.
Right? Like,
oh, I didn't even read it that way. I thought it was like a literal thing. Like, the way this world works is if you cast a spell, you become more frightened. The more spells you cast, the more of a scaredy cat you become.
oh, just straight up, like,
Whether that's forever or whether that's dependent on what magic you cast, whether it's, being scared of magic. I don't know. You can figure that out, I guess, but
there's a fear. I'm taking my coat off for this. There's a fear sensitivity.
Yeah, let's dig into this.
There's a fear sensitivity slider that like moves as you cast more magic.
Yes.
That's wild.
Also, is it going to impact the rest of your magic casting? Like, if you cast a spell while being feared, is it going to go worse? Is it,
There's like a cartoon villain energy to this. First and foremost, that's like, watch out for Dr. Magicios. The more he casts spells, the more paranoid he becomes. It's like a weird, it's like a weird weakness sort of situation.
Yes.
Like, this is the caveat of your magic. Or you could see it as like the more you cast magic, the more disconnected from reality you become. Where it's like everything is suddenly more
like that
scary, more ridiculous. Like your perception of the world is permanently shifted.
Almost in a sort of manic way. Yeah. That's
like a mania. I'm trying to separate fear and paranoia because those are technically two different things.
Yeah. Okay.
But we could always just extrapolate this prompt to be paranoia. So I'm thinking.
I mean, go wherever you want to go. I love all of this.
This feels like one of those Aesop's fables where there's a lesson to be learned at the end.
Oh, like a moralistic something?
Yeah, and the main character is a tragic character. Like Bob discovers magic. Bob uses magic too much. Bob.
Oh no.
He suffers from his castings. So I'll probably put on like some goofy like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like a lumbering sort of cartoonish energy here. Give me a letter for a name so we could jump into this.
Okay. G.
G. There's a bunch of dumb names coming to mind right now. I'm trying to keep this guy like respectable.
You started it with naming him Bob. I don't feel responsible for this.
We'll keep it simple. His name is Gregor.
Gregor, yeah.
Gregor is, I'm looking at my formal attire. Gregor is just an ordinary salary man. He's got a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. He drives 45 minutes to work his cubicle job.
Yeah.
And he's just living an ordinary life. He's neither happy nor sad about it. It is mundane and simple as it comes. He works hard. He gets paid a moderate amount, not as much as he'd like to be paid, but not too little. And he's entirely whelmed by his current situation. Gregor has a hobby. All around his cubicle, you could see these little action figures. He's gone through when he was younger his monster phase. He has a whole lot of just a small collection of little dinosaurs lined up along the corner. Then he goes through his mecha phase towards the teenage years. Those constructive.
It's like the evolution diagram where the dinosaurs turn into like robots and then
mechas.
The superheroes come along and
He's got like these little stand-up mecha Power Ranger type little figurines there.
Yes.
And then obviously, as he grows up, he becomes more distinguished in his buildings and they become like clay molds, He has these almost artistic museum-like reconstructions of war horses and carriages and like Greek heroes of legend, so to speak. And these are kind of sequential on his top shelf in his office, right above his tax filings for the month.
Nice,
and right below his responsibilities for the coming quarter.
We love the hierarchy of this, yes.
And, Gregor's a great employee, but his mind is prone to wander. And sometimes he imagines the cosmic battles that his figurines face in some alternate universe, in some space where he doesn't exist, where he can see dinosaurs and robots fighting in the vastness of the cosmos.
Damn, Greg.
And one day at the end of his shift, when he's clocking out after an intense daydreaming session, he notices that his figurines are in a little bit of a different position than he left them in. He's usually pretty immaculate about how he keeps these figurines. He just repositions them back to where they used to be and calls it for the day. Next day he comes in, next day he daydreams, and he once again finds them in these strange poses, and he didn't put them in. Is somebody sneaking behind his back and adjusting his figurines while he daydreams? No, that can't be true. So this time, on the third day of the week, on hump day, on Wednesday, he looks to his figurines and daydreams intensely about the fights that he's dreamt of thousands of times. And slowly but surely, he sees the figurines move just a little bit, scooting across the shelf like chess pieces, sliding one at a time, sometimes colliding with each other and going back to where they used to be, slightly out of position. And he wonders, is this him? Magic's not real. He's watched plenty of movies about magic. He grew up with the children's books. He knows it. This is not real. But without fail, for the next week, he continues to hone his abilities to move these figurines and make them do these cosmic battles. And it is so strange and so weird, but he delights in it, and many hours of his work shift are spent playing out these encounters and battles, and he has a lot of fun with it.
So is this like a Matilda style where it takes his like effort to telepathically?
There's no like magical glow. There's no shimmer. They're just moving.
Right.
And by the end of the week, Friday night comes and he's pulling quote unquote overtime. He's just having these full scale like battles on the shelf. He's tucked all the way in the corner so nobody can watch him, and they're fighting. Friday night, he eats his TV dinner, frozen pizza. He watches the episode of NCIS, Criminal Investigations, as he does every night, of course. And as he drifts off to sleep, he finds himself waking in his slumber in the vastness of space. He hears a roar echoing through the galaxy as he turns the corner and looks into this wide expanse of space in this dreamscape and sees a massive dinosaur swimming its way through the clouds of the ether and pulling out its massive sword from the side with its little tiny claws.
Yeah, of course.
Slicing towards the mecha on the other side of this giant battlefield.
Please, can this be the T-Rex with like the tiny arms? I would love it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so deadly.
He's got a very big sword, very small hands.
Yeah.
And they're fighting, and they're clashing, and the mecha in the background yells, "Gregor, you've caused this conflict. You must be the one to settle it." And Gregor is caught up in a maelstrom of war, a battlefield of all of his figurines of Greek gods flinging thunderbolts to dinosaurs swinging swords at mechas. It is a calamitous event happening in this massive space. And Gregor wakes up in a sweat from this dream. In the middle of the night, he drives to his workplace, fiddles with the lock. He breaks open the door to his 9-to-5 job, and he clambers up to his cubicle. I'm sneaking past all of the janitors of the midnight shift, and he looks at his figurines, and lo and behold, the figurines have moved. They've definitely moved. You'd see the battle maps, the tracings of the phalanx of the lines of these figurines, how they've changed and shifted over the course of the night. Gregor, he's the one who did this. He's the master of this battle. He's the one who dictates the fate of these cosmic beings, and
I can see the camera angle like turning. Tilting. Yeah.
Tilting. Gregor's hyper focus. He's drank 5 cups of coffee, and he begins moving the figurines, completing this battle, making the sound effect. As he's clashing these things together.
Yeah.
He slices a mecha in half and fears what has happened. He wails and cries over the death he causes in this battlefield as he's tearing apart his figurines one by one, a littering of bodies across the battlefield, and in his delirium, in his fear of the god he has become, passes out in his office chair.
Oh God.
Swivels ever so slightly, and in his dreamscape he is surrounded by the hundreds of bodies he's laid to rest. And in this dreamscape, that last mecha calls to him and says, "Gregor, what have you done?" Gregor puts his hands on his face and cries as he mourns. And he wakes up for his next shift on Monday.
Oh my God. That's where you're going to leave us? Oh my God. No, Gregor.
That's the end of that story.
Is his job mundane again? Gregor's a changed man, dude.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know.
He's never going to be the same, bro. Oh no.
I don't know what kind of support group he needs for that.
What happened to the T-Rex? Not the T-Rex. Oh man.
This is the B-side of the Matilda movie where someone gains telekinetic powers and just goes insane.
This was like the first draft, and then they were like, this is a bit much, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, let's change the character to an 8-year-old girl. And
This is
let's
like
just have her...
the version 0 of the Lego movie, and they were like, maybe this is like too many trademarks. Maybe let's give it a happy ending, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
what if we don't traumatize Gregor?
Listen, maybe Michael Bay shouldn't work on the Lego movie. Let's give this project to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe, just maybe.
Maybe Michael Bay and Tim Burton working on the same movie wasn't the best idea.
That's definitely what this is. Wow. Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh no.
well, that's my pitch and I'm sticking with it.
It's lovely. I don't know how the prompt led to this glorious ending.
Well, that's the prompts we have for you today.
Oh my God. That's the last of it. Ah.
Yeah.
Man.
And with that, I guess we're done for the summer. No, we'll be back.
That's so weird. I don't want to.
towards the end of summer.
Wow. We were just saying right before we started recording how weird it is that it's already summer. Like,
absolutely.
The months are like speeding by, which is very strange.
2023 doesn't feel like a real year.
No, it's definitely fake.
This whole year so far has felt very experimental. It felt like there's nothing set in
What
stone.
does that mean?
Like
Like it's a fluid concept?
I haven't staked any landmarks in my life this year, you know? It's just been like, hey, let's try this.
What is
let's
it
try
for?
this.
Yeah.
By the end of 2023, I'll know what this year is about, but it's not today.
I love how you always know it afterwards, right? Oh, I guess this is what the year when the pandemic happened. This is the year when I did this thing or did that thing. Yep.
Yeah.
It's true.
What will I remember 2023 for? Will it be for the prompt where Grigor goes crazy playing with his action figures? Or will it be something else?
I mean,
Let's hope it's something
obviously. I think I know the answer to that one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wrap this
However,
up.
there's this one thing, Dante, that I don't know the answer to yet.
Oh, really? Good segue.
Which is why
What is that?
my rivers are wrong.
Oh, your rivers are wrong.
Do you know maybe why my rivers are wrong?
I don't know why your rivers are wrong.
Are your rivers wrong?
My rivers are probably wrong.
So I probably shouldn't ask you then, because you probably won't.
No, I don't know the answer.
Ah, okay.
Maybe next season we'll figure out the answer.
Maybe, yeah. Tune in to find out.
Thank you for
Anyway.
listening, guys.
This was great. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
See ya soon, later, maybe. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Your Rivers Are Wrong. If you have any thoughts for topics, prompts, or if you just want to share your thoughts, you can reach us at yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. That's yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. Big thank you goes to Martin Skelligans for our intro and outro music, and most importantly, thank you for listening. We hope to catch you at our next episode. Have a good one.